Good evening, dear listeners. Welcome. And welcome to Mediation Matters. I'm your host, Gabriel Onovo, a chartered mediator, conflictologist, and a peace consultant. This program is dedicated to exploring alternative dispute resolution, or ADR, as a practical and effective method for resolving conflict outside of the courtroom. ADR encompasses techniques such as mediation, arbitration, and negotiation, offering faster and more affordable and amicable resolution to disputes when compared to traditional litigation. Today, we will delve into the world of ADR, exploring its benefits, accessibility, and how it transforms the justice system here in Kaduna and beyond. I will also be sharing insights from my own experience as an ADR practitioner and addressing some common questions about resolving disputes. But I am not alone. I am joined by a distinguished guest, a leading voice in the field of ADR, who is making remarkable strides in promoting peace and justice. It is my absolute honor to welcome Her Worship, Dorcas Levy. Her Worship is the director of the Kaduna State Multi-Door Courthouse, a government-owned ADR center that has been at the forefront of promoting effective and accessible dispute resolution methods. She is a highly respected mediator, a judge, and a peace advocate with years of experience in handling complex disputes and advancing ADR in our justice system. Your Worship, thank you so much for joining us on Mediation Matters today. It is truly a pleasure to have you here, ma'am.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Your Worship. We will have an exciting program ahead of us today. We will discuss how ADR works, the services available here in Kaduna, and how our listeners can benefit from these processes. Let's start by breaking things down for our audience. Your Worship, many of our listeners may have heard of ADR, but might not fully understand what it is. Could you start by explaining what ADR is and how it differs from the traditional court process, ma'am?
Okay, thank you very much. ADR simply means alternative dispute resolution. It's a different way of settling disputes outside litigation, which is going to court. So the difference is that for ADR, it's about settlement. For litigation, it's about rights and legal issues. That's the difference between ADR and litigation. In ADR, parties sit down on a table and discuss solutions to their problems. In litigation, a judge decides the case. And of course, your only option is to appeal. For ADR, parties bring out options themselves that are suitable to them, that they want to agree on, and they enter terms of settlement.
Wow, interesting. Ma'am, the ADR, is it just one-sided? Are there branches, components of this ADR?
Yes, we call them mechanisms, ADR mechanisms, different types of ADR. We have mediation, where a third party helps people, disputants, people who have issues, to settle their dispute. We have conciliation. That's where the third party, who is trained, suggests to the parties ways of settling their disputes. We have negotiation, which is an everyday thing that we do actually. You go to buy a car, you negotiate over the price of the car. So that's negotiation, where parties negotiate between themselves, or they get a trained negotiator to negotiate the dispute for them. We also have arbitration. Arbitration is a bit technical, and it involves only commercial disputes. And it means getting an arbitrator who will write an award, who will hear the parties, take their documents, hear evidence, and now write an award. And that award is binding on the parties. We also have the hybrid process, where you do med-ab. You start with mediation and finish with, and if it does not work, you move on to arbitration. We have ACME, where you start with arbitration. If it does not work, you go to mediation, among so many other mechanisms.
Wow, fantastic. Now, let's break this down a little. ADR is said to be applicable to many scenarios. Can it be used for all types of disputes, or are there limitations, ma?
ADR can be used for all civil disputes. land matters, tenancy, labor disputes, election petition, election matters, husband and wife, marriage issues, divorce, maintenance, custody, and so many other civil disputes, tort, contract, commercial disputes. You can use ADR for them. The limitation in ADR is that there's only an extent to which you can use it in criminal matters.
Okay.
You can only use ADR in criminal matters where the offenses are compoundable, where the law provides that these offenses are compoundable. Offenses such as criminal trespass, offenses such as intimidation, assault, causing hurt, simple offenses. That's where you can use ADR on. But for big offenses like rape and theft and criminal breach of trust and the big offenses, manslaughter, murder, you cannot use ADR on them. So when we use ADR in criminal matters, we call it restorative justice. Those are offenses that you can actually make amends, that you can bring back certain things that you have taken, and you can apologize sometimes works.
Fantastic. Very, very insightful. Now, Ma, let's talk about the Kaduna State Multi-Door Courthouse. I have observed that quite a number of persons out there who listen to us, they really don't know we have a center.
At the Multi-Door Courthouse, we have, it's called multi-door because it has different doors. Okay, you have the mediation door, you have the arbitration door, you have the sulhu door, which handles Islamic matters. We have the native law and custom door that handles native law and custom matters. Then we have now introduced the restorative justice door, which handles offenses that are compoundable, like I mentioned before. And then we now also have even the trauma and counseling, trauma healing and counseling door, because there are offenses that, there are matters that cause trauma to certain people, and they will just want to vent, and they'll just want to speak out. And then there are people that will need counseling, particularly young people and children. So that's what we do at the center. We have trained mediators, trained arbitrators, trained counselors that are ready to do these things.
Wow, that's amazing, Ma. For our listeners who may want to access these services, what does the process look like? Is it simple and accessible?
It is a very simple and accessible process. That's the beauty of ADR. The beauty of ADR is that it is easy, it is cheap, it is timely, it doesn't waste time. Now, at the Multi-Door Courthouse, there are 3 ways of filing a case. The first one is to just walk into the Multi-Door Courthouse. It is also called the ADR Center. So you just walk to the ADR Center or the Multi-Door Courthouse and say, I want to file a case. The registrar and his team are ready to listen to you, and they will reduce your complaint into writing and serve it on the other person whom you have a dispute with. What does it cost? 2,000 naira.
Wow.
That's how the government has made it so easy for everybody to file this case. The other way is the courts. All the courts in Kaduna State refer cases, whether it is High Court, Sharia Court, customary court, they refer cases to the Multi-Door Courthouse for the mediators to sit on.